let's talk about cemetery fence, specifically columns, fencing, all the little knickknacks and doodads to hold it together. We're gonna walk through it today. I'll build it in my backyard. I'll talk you all through the process, how I planned it, how I built it, and of course, how it's setting up. Let's check it out right now.
First, I planned it out. Understood what I wanted to do with it, how tall it should be, what it should look like, all that stuff. Next, I planned out all the cuts, measurements, and as much as I could to try to sit down and cut everything all in one go. I knew I wanted to fit a lot of stuff inside these columns, like pneumatics, electrical, DMX, so I tried to maximize the space inside there. Here's the first look at building the columns, keeping in mind that I wanted to try to keep as much space inside so I could house a bunch of stuff in there and make it as light as possible. I would use things like 1x3s, PVC, and only use 2x3s when I needed to mount things like this. I reused old porch railings, and this is where we started to test fit it in those brackets to make sure everything fit snug. Here's when some of the plywood started to go on. And I started to scuff up the edges, the corners, and started to make some really good gashes to start to develop into this kind of stone look. And at the same time, we started to find these accessories, this mirror that we used to just try to emphasize some of the areas. This is where we would poke out the holes, where the drop pot would eventually go, to really bring it together. After I scuffed it up, we started to go back with lightweight spackle to fill out, to bring out some of those cracks. And you could start to see the light will catch it and really make it something that appears to be a crack. Painting and aging. Here's the base coat, which was a black fence paint. And we started to move into more layers to add texture. We got some of the texture ideas from a great friend, Chris Sylvia, to grind up rice. And I also used other things like sand, lightweight spackle, and other ingredients to get this really great texture. If you want to hear more how I made this hard coat, comment below and let me know, and I'll make a video about it. Let's dive into how I aged these once I got the texture. Apologies for the low quality here. This is from my Instagram story. I just never thought to take an HD version of this. So this is what I do. I take that fence post paint and I water it down, and it's this really great kind of organic black, and I start to paint in the cracks and crevices of where I want the age and grime to be. Then I'll let it drip down, and I'll really start to just let it organically fall, and then I'll use that, just basically a water bottle, to spray it and really let it run, just get it nice and saturated. And once it starts to really run, I'll take a damp towel and dab some of the areas that just are too runny, or just lines of that paint there to just make sure that it looks a little bit more organic. Once that dries, I'll do it again, and I'll vary the ratio of water versus that fence post paint to really achieve that final look that I'm looking for. Just really great age and grime, and make it look like it's been around, for 40, 50 years. Now comes the final touches of the speaker holes right there. I wanted to make it look like it was, broken through some super thick stone, so I added some foam here, sealed it, coated it, aged it, and it really turned out pretty great. Here's the other one too. And here's just some final detail shots of the aging. You can see some of the layers there peeking through, some of the darker areas at the top, and just a final picture of it all assembled, and we test fit it. And here we go, setting it up. We'll lay out those big columns just to make sure that the distance is correct, and then we'll start with that gate first. Everything is held together with the bolts, the same bolts in the mausoleum and other things. and then we'll move to the speaker, those like laid down columns where the speakers and wires go, and we'll finally end with those end ones, and we'll set up that end fence as well. This takes a little finagling. It's super tight and it's great, but it just takes a little bit to bring it into place. And there you have it. The cemetery fence is completely up here, and it serves two purposes. One, I mean, it just looks cool. It's gonna be a part of the set. The other part is around functionality. So it keeps people out of the graveyard, and it also stores a lot of things, wires, lighting, the whole drop haunt. So it is a really great way to just add some purpose to something that looks so cool. Just like I mentioned before, here's some of the areas that the cemetery fence is attached, so that you can see one of the bolts there. Keeps things rigid, it keeps things tight, and I can reuse these bolts anywhere that I want in the haunt. And the bolts are also what's attaching it to the column itself. And here's the fencing. I just used some decking attachments to make sure it had something to sit on and keep it a little bit more sturdy as well. Here's an up-close shot of how the columns attach to the fencing. So there's those brackets right there. You can drop a bolt right through it, or you can zip tie it like I did here. Here's that same decking attachment. You can see I try to make it as flush as possible, so I just needed some wood to get the screws into those areas. So these are closet rods, but they're wooden. And I attach these here for lighting. I wanted to be able to hang lights from them and then easily be able to take them on and off. And here's where the speakers go. There's the speaker fabric that I attached to the foam. And here's a good spot to show that there are holes on every single column so that you could feed through power, DMX cords, whatever you want through here without anyone seeing. And here's where the drop haunt goes. And here's another area for the light, the closet rod right there. And you can see there's so much space to house everything. You know, all the wires, speakers, everything here, and more. And there you have it, what it looks like to the public, and then all the stuff behind the scenes. I'm hoping to build on this and include more things, hide more things in here, so it gives me a great place to keep on expanding to. Now we saw what these look like on Halloween. Let's see what these columns look like right here at night. That does it for this build overview. If you want to see more videos, you can check them out here or go on my YouTube page. And until next time, happy haunting.